Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Carnivore Evolution podcast. Today we have a special guest, Keith. Keith is a fellow carnivore who has struggled with his weight for years, also struggled with his eating habits, and has decided to come on our podcast today to share his story. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Keith, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, yeah, not too bad. And yourself?
Good man, good man. Okay, so I want to touch on carnivore, but I want you to take me back to the very, very beginning. When you started focusing on diets and you want to start on focus on weight loss. So bring me back to the very, very beginning and lead me all the way up to carnivore eventually.
Okay, so this started for me um about 20 years ago. I was pushing 30, so I'll be 50 now in May, and I played in a death metal band, so I used to have hair like down halfway down my back, and so I was playing, yeah, playing in a metal band all the time. Was drinking a lot, smoking weeds, the usual stuff all through my 20s, and really I had no interest in health and fitness. Really, like I did martial arts as a kid, and really, yourself, you think you're bulletproof in your 20s. So I just didn't wasn't really concerned about weight loss or diets or anything like that. Like, so my late 20s, then my dad, my brother, and my mother-in-law all got cancer at the same time, and even my dog got cancer just as a final kick in the ass, like first. But um, so that made me take a step back and look at how things were going, and like what was coming down the road for me if I didn't kind of snap myself out of it, like, and you know pay attention to what I was doing, and what I was doing to myself. So I originally, again, at that point, I kind of didn't really think much of diet because, don't mean to sound bad, like, but it was like, you hear your mom talking about slimming and that, but you never hear your dad talking about it, like, now my kids be different now, like, but, um, so I kind of was like, right, I'm going to get back into martial arts, and I was originally going to do kickboxing, and I thought that'll sort me out, it'll be grand, but never put put the whole diet thing and exercise together, like, so, um, I was working as a carpenter at the time, and I was working in a local church, and the electrician at the time, he had a taekwondo club, so he says to me, "Come down, do a bit of boxing, and see how you get on." So I went down anyway, and I was looking at the guys doing the taekwondo, and I said, "Oh, maybe I'll jump into that." 'Cause I did karate as a kid, so I jumped into the boxing, and then I got into ninjutsu as well. So I started doing the two martial arts at the same time, and like the weight was falling off me, but I mean, going from like really only the exercise I would have got on a building site, which it's strenuous, and I was doing a lot, like, but wasn't really doing any much exercise as such. Um, Again, still hadn't really kind of put the whole diet thing down, but like my wife has always been kind of a conscious eater, like, and she's always been in shape, so like, she'd be kind of nudging me to kind of go more in the health wise kind of down that kind of road. But again, we were getting the information from what's still going around now, like more plant based, and don't eat as much meat, and go like low fat and all that nonsense. So, um, if anything, it kind of was getting bigger. I was keeping the weight kind of level and off, like, but again, I was going up in size and trousers and all that, and I just thought, like, I'm getting older, so this is just natural. Your waist is going to expand, and that's just the way it is. Like, you just get older, and that's it. Like, so kind of didn't really think much of it, and then I was getting kind of pains, but arthritis runs in my family, or so I think anyway, or thought, and like I was driving a motorbike as well, and I was still playing in the metal band as well, but I was kind of starting to ease off drinking and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I never put arthritis or anything like that down to food. And so fast forward anyway, my dad and my brother pulled through, but my mother-in-law died. And so again, we're just kind of going further on and further on, and then my dad got sick again. I was like, he had a different type of cancer this time. So I was like, right, I really need to be starting to do something. So I started looking into other diets and all that. Now, thankfully, I never went vegan. I never liked vegetables or anything like that. Really, I did like potatoes, obviously being Irish and all that. So, but looking back, I think it was really
Mm.
it was all the butter that I used to put on the potatoes that I really looking back that I really enjoyed, you know. So then I
Mm.
started like the whole low fat thing just wasn't doing anything for me, and then I was getting pains in my knees and pains in my hands, and then I'll talk about this a little bit later on, but you'll see my finger, this one here. There's a twist in it, so I've arthritis in that. Like, and my mom was the same, but before she died, now it was much worse.
You have
Like,
the
you know,
same as
but
me. I have the same as
yeah,
me.
and it's
Yeah.
this is I'll talk about it later, but this is like my marker. If I eat something that doesn't agree with me, this thing,
Mm.
it's like sends off the bat sign. Like, you know, it's mad. But
Mm.
so again, I just thought, look, working on site, I'm kneeling in on the damp floor, driving the motorbike as well, the wind, everything. Like, you know, you just don't, you didn't have a clue. Like, so I was thinking, this is why my knees are at me and all that sort of stuff. And then I was getting injuries and they weren't healing, and then gradually just putting weight on. Now, I was never like massively obese or anything like that, but I knew myself, if I started putting on weight like badly, I'd be snoring in that line. I'd be getting a dig off herself, like, you know, in the bed, she'd be waking me up like, you're snoring. I was like, right, right. And then I knew myself, I was putting weight on. So fast forward then years of this kind of yo-yo and back and forward, kind of get in a good shape, or maybe I'd relax, wouldn't be going out as much and whatever. And then when we got married and we had kids kind of quickly, so that kind of stopped the going out kind of thing anyway. And what was I going to say to you? So we were wouldn't have been going out as much. Then I found Dave Asprey and Bulletproof Diet and all that. So I was kind of trying that, like the whole high fat, low carb. And it kind of worked for a bit, but again, I was still eating all the plants and all that kind of stuff. And I love my coffee, like, so I liked the Bulletproof coffee. If anything, I was doing intermittent fasting or bulletproof intermittent fasting, whatever he calls it. So I was kind of getting stuck into that. But again, there was no results. You know, I enjoyed it, but there was no results. It was just the same thing, just different name. So this just kind of went on and on and on, and then eventually COVID hit, and I re-injured my shoulder. So I had an injury from when I worked as a carpenter. I was loading my chop saw into the back of a car, and I overreached, and my shoulder was injured, and this would flare up on me every now and again. And during COVID, I don't know whether you remember for one of the first days of the lockdown, there was this thing on social media where there's like, you had to, I don't know, you had to say something you were doing. I can't remember. It was nonsense anyway. But I decided to sand and varnish my garage doors. But of course, I used used that arm, and I used sanded the whole time with that arm. So that left me in bits, and like I basically couldn't move my arm for weeks. Like I couldn't sleep. I was walking around the house at night, like, it's just, I couldn't go to bed, I couldn't lie down, and I'd have to just like sit up in the sitting room and just eventually pass out. Like, you know, it was that bad. So it's the closest I've come to finishing YouTube, because I just watched pretty much everything about trying to heal your shoulder and all the rest. Like, it's a
Yeah.
pity I didn't start looking at carnivore then. Like, but
Mm.
so then I started following James Smith and the whole calories in. I'm cringing now. But I started following him, and like, it all made sense, and it sounds great and all that. Like, but like, again, it took me 7 months to get a stone off, and I put it all back on in no time. It's just constant looking at, can I eat this? How much have I got left? Um, all this, you know, it's just endless, you know. So while while it did work, like, it was temporary, like, you know, and I was like you say all the time in your stuff, I was miserable. You know, it was the kids are looking at me, like, when the kids are looking at you going, like, what are you doing? You know, and we're going, oh, I'm counting what I can have now, and I might have a little bit more now, and then I mightn't have so much tomorrow, so I can have more the next day. And I was like, seriously. So anyway, I got into a habit then of taking photographs, like progress photos. So as I said, it took me 7 months to get the weight off, and I couldn't keep it off, and like that, I just couldn't keep doing it. So the weight all went back on anyway, and yeah, I was like, on, well, this is it, you know. And then I was still watching stuff on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and I kept seeing carnivore diet, and I was like, that's nonsense. Just eat meat and eggs. Like, yeah, right, that's going to get you fit and healthy, like, you know. So it just kept coming up more and more and more, and then I do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu now, and was training 5 nights a week, and I have a little home gym here, and I was lifting a couple of days a week. So some days I'd be training twice jiu-jitsu, and then so like guaranteed 5 nights a week, if not at least 3 days, maybe double. Depends what way I was working. This is like kind of towards the end of COVID, but I kept seeing about carnivore diet anyway, and then weight was just going on, and I just couldn't get anything that would work. So I said, right, I'm going to give this carnivore diet a go, see what happens. I said, I'll do it for a month, and I'll see what happens. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does, great. We'll see what happens. So I was due to go to Chicago on New Year's Day just for work, and I was coming back on the 3rd. So I said, right, I'm not going to do it on New Year's Day because it's just going to cause me too much hassle. I'll start when I come back, and then I'll take it from there. So I was listening to, or my wife actually, she'd seen that Dr. Chafee was going to be on an Instagram live with, I can't think of the girl's name. It'll come back to me in a minute. But I said, right, I'll watch that anyway. So I ended up watching the repeat of it. Just everything he said just made sense. Like just the way he explained it. Like there was nothing in it where I kind of go, I don't believe that, or what's that all about? Like, so everything he explained just made sense to me. So I said, right, I'll give it a go, and we'll see what happens. So I landed on the 3rd of January 2024, and I just said, right, that's it, cold turkey. I'm going off everything, going off coffee, going off all sweets. And I have a really sweet tooth, and like major sugar addict. That was my biggest problem, was sugar. So went cold turkey, and now I lived on coffee. So like even as a kid, I was drinking Maxwell. I was like it was rubbish coffee as well. Like, but I would have been drinking that since I was a kid. So everyone, like I work a lot of early shifts, so I work shift work, but I would work early, and I thought there's no way I'm gonna manage to do an early shift without coffee. So anyway, I'm an all or nothing type of person. So I said, right, we're gonna find out the hard way. So I went in, had my night's sleep, went in, and I found after a few days, like I was sleeping better than ever. Coffee, although I lived on it and I lived on caffeine, so I would have been drinking energy drinks and all that nonsense as well. And as I said, I just couldn't get rid of the weight, even training that much. I just couldn't do a thing. So anyway, went cold turkey, gave everything up, and within a couple of days, like I was getting cauliflower ears from jiu-jitsu, and it was less than a week in, and my wife was like, just look at your ears, like, and I was like, what's wrong with them now? Because she hates them, because they were getting bad up here. And I had a piercing, high piercing here that had really thick scarring on it. And my ears have gone back to normal. They're still fairly okay. I'm still kind of getting cauliflowers in here, but there's nothing to write home about. But the amount of inflammation that just left my body like within a week was unbelievable. And I know I've talked to you before, but you'll see my wedding ring there. I had to get this sized up 5 sizes, so you can't really see it there properly, but that's the amount of inflammation that's gone from my body, like from doing carnivore. So I should really get it resized, but I've just been leaving it because every time this moves on my hand, it's like a mental cue to keep going. So as I was saying to you about my finger then as well, this, especially in the winter, right here, like would be like purple, but it'd be pain. The pain in it would be something else. Like it'd be really, really sore. Now, like I've nothing. I've no pain at all. And my finger will never straighten. I did go to the doctor about it, and like I thought maybe they could break it and straighten it and see what would happen. But he just said to me, if you can stick the pain, that's it. Otherwise, you're looking at shots. So I was like, no, that's not an option. So
Wow.
I don't have any pain now, which is unbelievable. But that's all down to cutting out everything, all the sugar, the carbs, plants, everything, and
isn't it amazing? You had to.
Or as I said to you, that's like my marker now. I know if I've eaten something that doesn't agree with me, that's the first thing that starts at me. Like I was away last weekend, and now I haven't eaten potatoes since December 2023, and I was in New York last Saturday, and I got an omelette for my breakfast, and with it came these little cubes of potatoes, whatever you call them over there. Anyway, I said I'll have them and see what happens. So I'm going through a phase at the moment of trying out different things just to see what happens. I've no interest in going back on plants or anything like that. Like, but I'm just kind of, you get to that stage where you just want to test things. So I had the potatoes. 20 minutes later, this finger is like someone's after putting it in a vice, and it's like squeezing it. So I was like, right, it's either the potatoes or whatever it's cooked in, or both. So I'm gonna say the potatoes definitely, because I haven't touched them in well over a year. And yeah, that like is a pure sign for me. Like that, I know it's never going to straighten, but I can work around it, and there is relief for me. Like so, so sorry, I went cold turkey then with everything else, and within 8 weeks, like I've been taking progress photos, weekly photos, see how I'm getting on, and just to track. I've no interest in my weight, but if I'm doing a competition for jiu-jitsu, I need to know my weight. So every week I'll do a weekly weigh-in, just see where I am, whatever. It's more about how I look and feel that I'm more interested. It's definitely more how I'm feeling than how I look. But it goes hand in hand, as you know yourself, from doing this diet. So where was I? Yeah, so the just cutting everything out, especially the energy drinks. That was a major game changer for me. Like it just changed so much for me that I didn't have my sleep was so much better, and what else? Like just generally the way I felt. But I couldn't believe it. Like within 8 weeks, I looked completely different. Clothes weren't fitting me. I was putting more notches in the belt. I was afraid to throw anything out because of the time I'd done the calorie counting, and I was like, if I buy new clothes now and this all comes back on me, I'm going to look really stupid, and then I'm going to have no clothes. So I kind of kept all my clothes, and I ended up just buying like cheap clothes. I was going into the likes of pennies and that, and just buying cheap clothes because I was like, there's no way this is going to stay off me. Sorry. So yeah, so I was originally going to do it for 1 month, and the more I learned about carnivore during that month, everyone was saying you need to do it for 3 months to get the most benefits that you can possibly get, like in a short space of time. So I was like, right, okay, if I can do it for a month, I'll do it for 3. So I got through the month anyway, and like I can't explain how good I felt after just a month. So I was like, okay, if this was like after a month, like what's it really going to be like after 3? So I kept going anyway, and the more I learned, the more benefits I was seeing, and I was actually seeing. So I was like nearly having targets in my head, like to see, is this gonna happen for me or what? Because everyone's on their own journey, and like some people kind of over exaggerate things and all that, and I'm kind of conscious of that. Like, so I wanted to really see how it would affect me. Then my other main, everyone says like you need to have your why you want to do this, because like everyone wants to feel better and that, like, but my other main why was my mom was at the end stages of Alzheimer's at this stage, and I'd heard Dr. Chafee talking about how in his practice and in what he had seen that a ketogenic, or this diet in itself, carnivore diet, was literally the only thing that he's seen that's reversed or prevented Alzheimer's or dementia, Parkinson's, those types of diseases. So now my mom was too far gone at this stage. Like she was at the end stages. Like, but I was looking at her and I was going, like, obviously I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for my kids. Just they're seeing her the way she was, and like I was going, if it's just a matter for me, like of not eating these so-called foods and so-called health foods, that I can avoid that, well then, like, it's a no-brainer, so that was another big thing for me, and still is a big thing for me to stay carnivore. So like this week I'm 64 weeks in, so like there's no going back. It's just definitely no way I'm going back to eating. There's absolutely no point in going the other way. I've seen too many benefits. Like I've lost 4 inches off my waist. As you can see, all the inflammation that has gone. I can't see it there. Yeah, the inflammation that's gone. No pain here. I've never had as much energy in my life. I've never felt as good. And there was just like, why would I want to do anything with that? Um, I'm sure you've been similar yourself in your journey so far. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Like,
so
can you?
that's kind of me.
Ca-
Now, like obviously, when I go out, if I go out, I don't really go out too often because I've gotten to the point where I just like cooking my own food now. I know where it comes from. I know what it's been cooked in, and when I go out, I'm more disappointed. Like, sure, I like going out and having food handed to me, but
Mm,
um, now I just prefer. I eat for a different reason. Like I was saying before, um, like now I don't eat for entertainment. Don't eat for
mm,
pleasure as such. I eat just to get the nutrients and survive. Um, it's like I explained this before. Um, it's like I don't look every night for a different bed. I know I need to lie down and go to sleep. So I need to eat food to
mm,
keep my body healthy and to
mm,
keep myself nourished, and that's it. So it's like I'm not looking for a new experience every night. Like people say, "Oh, you must get bored on the carnivore." I don't. I don't get bored of sleeping.
mm,
That way.
mm,
So that's kind of the way I look at it. So it's completely changed my idea of food. Whereas before, I was in bad humor, I might have, gone for the chocolate or ice cream or something like that. Um, now I don't. I'm not teetotal, but I don't drink really anymore. I had a few drinks at Christmas, and that was it. And then Paddy's Day, I had my first pint of Guinness on Paddy's the night before Paddy's night. And it did nothing for me. I was like, I wouldn't be bothered. I just
mm,
had the one, and I was like, I couldn't be bothered drinking another one. And
mm.
I just stayed on sparkling water. Which if you'd told me this now 6 or 7 years ago, I'd have laughed at you. But
So tell me
yeah,
this
so
much, Keith. So,
massive change and a massive change in how I look and how I look at and see food. You know the way.
mm,
Yeah, so that's kind of that's kind of me up to now. Like I just the I can't recommend this diet enough to people. Like you see so many people talking about it, and you kind of don't think it'll happen for you. It's getting through the initial stages, the fat adaptation stages, which I found particularly hard because being naive, I didn't think my diet was as bad as it actually was, and the fat adaptation phase was pretty difficult for me. Like I had 3 weeks
mm,
of 3 weeks of that, like, and then I got a stomach bug during it, and I bought a steak from a particular shop here. I won't mention it because I don't want to get in trouble, but I remember buying the ribeye and seeing the fat, and I remember that night I got sick, and I was like, all that was going through my mind was that fat. I was like, oh my god, I can't look at a steak, and I was like, this is it for me now. I can't. This is me done. I honestly thought I was done on the diet, and
yeah,
then I found out then there was a bug going at the time, and I was like, all right, that's grand. I'm good. So it took me a while to eat a full ribeye again, but I was grand. But even at that, at the start of going carnivore, I would have been more a chicken person. Wasn't really mad on steak. Now I wouldn't be bothered with chicken. It's just not enough in it. I like chicken and all, but it's just not enough for me. Um, I said I do like the taste of that, but it's just like, nah, give me a steak any day. So
mm,
I'd have a ribeye now every night, and my first couple of months I'd be like cutting a sliver of fat off a big chunk of meat and eating it because I was like, oh god, I can't eat. We've been programmed. You don't eat fat. Fat will make you fat.
mm,
And
mm,
little did I know, I'm eating this fat and my waist is going like this. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
make it make sense.
yeah, yeah,
So that, and then now I obviously got to know my butchers well because I'm in there every week buying a mountain stuff. But I'll get them to make me should I say get them? I'll ask them to make me 50-50 fat mince, so 50% fat, 50% mince, and the difference, like something like my
mm,
breakfast now, I get 4 pounds of high fat mince every week, and they vacuum pack the bag for me, so I'll just cut the bag open, and then I just grab a handful of mince, roll it in a ball into the pan, and then I use a potato masher, and I mash it down to make like a smash burger, and
yeah.
do it. So I'll have three of them, 6 eggs, and some streaky bacon, and that's my breakfast then. And then that's me then till dinner, and I'll have a ribeye. I'd always get two T-bones every week when I go to the butcher's. I'd eat T-bones every day if I could, but I
Mm,
can't afford it. So
yeah, yeah.
I'll have the dog loves me when I come back to the butcher's because he knows he's getting T-bone for the next 2 nights. So he's getting a
Yeah.
nice bone. So I'll have mostly I'll have a ribeye, and we get the bacon ribs.
Mm.
So do the ribs in the slow cooker during the day, and then I have a Kamado grill at the back, and I barbecue every night. I'm sure the neighbors think I'm mad because it could be lashing rain, and I'm out there um, with the barbecue going, where the Kamado grill going, and the smoke everywhere, and I'll be out and I'll get me done that way because I like it in the pan and all that, but once you get used to it grilled. So I did have a gazebo, and I wasn't sure exactly where I wanted to put it in the garden, so I put it in one particular place. So the storm a few months ago, not the one that we just had, I came home and it was like something from the Wizard of Oz. The gazebo was in the kids' trampoline. So I had a job trying to get that out of the trampoline. I think it had just taken flight and gone for a hop. Thankfully, the trampoline stopped it. So I put it in another place, put some weights on it and all that, moved it to another part of the garden where I didn't think the wind would get it. So the last storm that we had then, so it was sitting like this, do you know? And then the last storm we had then, that was it. Came home and it was in, like, it had folded out. So I had to buy a shed, like a miniature shed, because I didn't want to put a big thing where I have it. I didn't want to be annoying the neighbours. And so I have this shed now for it's just for me Kamado grill. I'll throw a few other things in there, but I can keep the charcoal and all that in. So you have to be resourceful now as a carnivore, especially in Ireland in the winter.
Yeah.
I found there's a Moldovan shop down the road from us, and they sell charcoal all year round. So um, I haven't gotten first name terms with them yet, but no doubt I will. Like, but yeah, so every night now I'll have my barbecue, and keeps me going. But yeah, that's it. So like at the moment now I'm eating twice a day, and that's it. So when I started, I was eating up to 4 times, 5 times a day because like, I just body didn't know what hit it. And what's this nutrient stuff? Do you know what's going on here? And I was just like a sponge, you know. So and then you hear everyone saying, which is true, eat when you're hungry and eat till you're full. So
Mm-hmm.
it took me a while to actually learn my hunger signals. So for me, I get like really tired, but not like I have to go and lie down kind of tired. I just get um lethargic or whatever is the word. Get like that, like as opposed to when I was carb fueled. So my wife will tell you I was very, very hangry and not fun to be around when I was hungry. But now, like I don't have that. I'm just getting tired. I'm going right. I'll even go to the point of just grabbing some butter and just eating some butter, and I know that'll keep me going. I'm gonna have my dinner later on, and then I'm full. That's it. Then nothing after dinner. Because I was really bad for snacking. I'd be having all crisps and chocolate and you name it. I'd be shoveling it down. Do you know the way?
So
So
tell me this, Kiki. So tell me this much. Seeing that people are going to hear your story,
yeah,
and they're going to be like, "This guy is crazy. This guy is like, it's not working. It's not possible. He's eating all this fat. It's only a matter of time before he has a heart attack. Um, it's just not possible how he can lose so much weight eating so much fats." What would you say to these people?
so I got my cholesterol done after, or my bloods done after 6 months going carnivore, and I know they say don't get it done any sooner than 6 months because your bloods will go all over the place. So I didn't do particularly well in school. I had no interest in school growing up. So I got my bloods. The nurse that did it rang me and she's like, "Get off this diet. Like your cholesterol's way too high." Now I was expecting it, like, but I wasn't expecting it to be so high. So
Yeah.
got my results anyway, and my total cholesterol was 13.3. And I was like, do I get a prize for that? And she's like, she was like, "Get off this. You don't have a heart attack and all this." And now I'd done my own research at this stage coming up to her, and I was like, "Look, I've done a bit of my own research." And now she was lovely, and she'd done me a favor. She'd done me a favor by doing it because she's not my actual doctor. Like she wasn't part of my actual doctor's surgery. Um, like I appreciated she was looking out for me and all that. Like, and but she didn't want to know like what I had done, and it's fair enough. Like, as I said, I'm really grateful for her for doing my bloods. So I was like, okay, Grant, she goes, "Look, get off that. Like, you need to take action now. Like, and whatever." And I was like, yeah, Grant, okay, no problem. So I sat down for the next 2 nights on the computer and I went through my whole blood panel, went through everything, what they are, why you test them, what they are, what the levels are around the world, not just my locality here, and like everything I could find for it. So it took me like 2.5 nights to go through it. So like I went through it. So liver was fine, kidneys were fine, um, all my markers were fine except for cholesterol was gone. I look and feel the best I've ever looked in my life. Never had as much energy. Um, you know, I'm wearing clothes like my wife slags me like because I went from a 34-inch waist to a 30-inch waist. And she's laughing at me saying, "You're wearing women's trousers now," you know. So I was like, as I said to you earlier, like I never thought like I had some trousers that were 36 because the different clothes will fit differently. Like, and I was like,
Yeah.
Jesus, 36-inch waist, that's brutal. Like even 34, I was kind of going, don't know. And the way you're asking lads, like, size trousers you like, the kind of way you don't want to be. Well, I'm the weirdo now, like, but kind of seeing like, is this normal? And then I thought, like, just as you're getting older, your trousers are gonna, you're gonna get a bigger waist. But so I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like everything else is fine. And there was one marker that I had that was fine on the Irish standards, but when I looked it up, it was like, yeah, it should be a lower number. So it's one when I get my bloods done, I'm gonna check this. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I have it written down, like, but so I was surprised at that one that I'd gotten. Oh yeah, no, that's okay. But actually, it's okay if everybody else isn't okay. The way it's the show me five people and show me the five people to hang around and you'll be the sixth, like, the way. But so I did my own research and like the score here with cholesterol and all that. Like it's like I keep thinking of that meme where you see the meme of Snoop Dogg and he's as high as a kite and it's like, how high do you want your
Yeah.
cholesterol? This high, like So I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I've absolutely no concerns. I did my triglycerides to HDL ratio and I was 0.78. And I was like, anything under two, like two is good, as you know. One is great, and anything under one is really good. So I was like, I'm not worried about that at all. My dad's on a statin, and he's a really low cholesterol number, and he was 0.75. And I was like, I'm actually better than you. But my cholesterol through the roof. Do you know? Now, he's not going to go carnivore or anything like that. Like, but I was like, I was looking at going, yeah, there's no way I'm going on a statin. Do you know? And I know that's that would be. What would be?
And can I ask you a quick question there, Keith? Does that not worry you that your dad's not actually listening to the advice that you're trying to give? Because that's the big issue that I have when it comes to loved ones. It's like, okay, how do you get that balance? How do you try and convince these people that what you're doing is not good? And I'm just trying to help you and trying to get you more healthier. How do you actually work? How do you work that out?
It's another reason why I kept my pictures, my progress pictures. I was like, this is me eating a balanced diet and exercising all the time, and I'm like, I was 80, nearly 87 kilos, and then I show this is me not eating healthy, and not using seed oils and not using all this other stuff. No pains, anything like this. And like, I don't know, you can bring a horse to water and all that, and like he'd say to me a lot of the time, like, is that healthy what you're doing? And I was like, I'm like, well, do I look healthy? Do I seem healthy to you? And he's like, oh yeah, you do. And then my dad's be 85 in a few weeks, like, but he's I don't know, it's just if a doctor tells him and he'll believe it, he's of that generation, so it's like, as my mom used to say, she'd like, for the medication, she'd say, like, if I fell over I'd rattle, with the amount of medication she was on, and it's a goal of mine to not be on any medication at all, I think as you know yourself, everything can be done through diet, if you start early enough, or reverse kind of your bad habits and stuff like that. But yeah, it does concern me now that my dad doesn't wouldn't kind of go this way. But I have gotten him eating more meat, and that, like, but with my mum gone, like, she would have done all the cooking, like, I'm being honest. So he's trying to get his head around doing something, doing stuff, like, so I've got, be doing him eggs, doing him different types of eggs, over easy eggs and all that sort of stuff, like, whereas he wouldn't have really cooked, way. So yeah, it's kind of hard to change the habits of a lifetime,
It is. It's very hard because I don't know if you know my story. I lost my parents as well last year to cancer, and
Yeah.
it was it's so sad when you're listening to these people and it's like, you know what? You're killing these people.
Yeah,
Like if you only just listen to what I'm telling you, I could have these people still here with me right now.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And you don't really care because when I'm doing the videos on a daily basis, you don't really care if people are listening or not. But it's different when it's family.
oh yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I'm sure you have kids. Are they doing the exact same thing as you, or are they eating like the balanced
they
meals?
they they tried for a little bit. Like they'd eat some meat, but for the most part, no. They're, you know, my eldest is 16, so she's kind of at that age, you know. The little fella's only 10. I have a 14-year-old as well. They'll like when we were away in Florida. I know you were away there as well. We were going over there at the same time. We went into a steakhouse, like, and they absolutely loved the steak, you know. But I think the thought of having it
Mm,
every day, or just wouldn't do it for them. And they'd like it and everything, but kids are liking all the sweets and that, like, so.
mm.
I want them to do it because they want to do it, not because I'm making them do it, because then
Exactly. Yeah.
they'll end up
Yeah.
resenting me, the way.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
like, I try all the, what would you say, little fella's mad at the football. So you're saying to him, well, you're not going to perform as well as you want if you're running on carbs, So if you were fat fueled, you'd be a hell of a lot better there.
Yeah.
So he could see the cogs are going. He's thinking about it, like, but
Mm, mm.
yourself, then you go and have some sweets, and it's like, yeah, right, I'll see you later. So, but I don't know, they're seeing, they're watching, like, and they've seen the difference in me as well. So, hopefully that'll be something that they'll come
Mm.
to in time.
And isn't it amazing that when you look around, there's so many people getting sick, so many people struggling with their health. Everybody's saying like, okay, we should be all focusing on a low fat diet, but the numbers are just going straight through the roof.
Yeah, like, the amount of people in work, because of my job, like, I work with different people every single day, and it's like, you're not eating, like, if I'm on a short, so I work as flight attendant, like, so if I'm on a short flight, I won't bring anything with me to eat. I'll just fast, and I'll have something to get home.
Mm,
And if I'm on a kind of a longer flight where I know I'm not going to be home till lunchtime, I'll bring something. I'll cook it the night before. I'll bring it with me, and I'll throw it in the oven and that, and then
mm,
take it out of the oven. They're just kind of looking at me going, "What's that?" Yeah. So most times I'll bring it's normally like half a family pack of mince, 6 eggs scrambled, and some streaky bacon, and I'll just throw it in the oven and heat it up. They're kind of looking, going, "Oh, that looks nice," because I'll mix it all together, like. And the amount of time I've been asked is that a bake or something? I was like, no, no. Then I tell them what it is, and they're like, oh, and then you can eat all that, and I'm like, yeah. I was like, well, I'm not going to eat again until tonight. And, will that do you? It's
mm.
like, yeah. And they're like, oh, I wouldn't be able to do that. I was like, why not? And they're like, oh, because I love this. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he's suffering with arthritis, and I was saying to him, listen, like, I had this problem, or I had this problem, and I ate tiny little bit of potatoes the other day. My finger was killing me, and that's arthritis, and this is setting it off. And he goes, oh, I love my spuds too much. And I was like, do you love arthritis that much? And he's like, you know, no, he's not a stupid fella, like, he's well clued in, but the way it's just, you're Irish and you have your potatoes. And I was like, listen,
Yeah.
maybe try it, give your body a chance. So we'll see, because he
Yeah.
said to me a few times, I'm thinking about going on that diet. So I was like, all right. He follows me anyway on Instagram as well, like, so he knows the crack. And he only lives up
Yeah.
the road from me anyway as well. I'd see him every week. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think you have to slowly chip away on people as well, because
But
it is.
it's like you mentioned, like you could never get rid of these foods because you couldn't understand why I want to get rid of these foods. You didn't
Yeah,
understand that this was actually an addiction.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I know. Like, it's not till you really stop them all. And
Mm,
like, I remember seeing Joe Rogan's podcast before, and they were talking about this guy he was on, and this guy was shredded. And I remember this always stuck in my head, and I never really realized why until I went carnivore. And two guys were talking, and they were like, "Oh God, you'd have to eat so clean to be like that." And now,
mm,
now looking back, I was going, "Okay, I don't look like that myself, like, but
yeah.
it was a work in progress. Yourself, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it was like, yeah, like, this guy, I'm sure he had a little bit of enhancement from other things, like, because he's, there was some physique he had, like, but I mean, I was just listening, going, God, you'd have to eat so clean to be like that. And I was like, but now eating clean is just that's really what is normal. It's all this other stuff,
Mm.
chemicals and stuff you can't even pronounce. Um, that's not normal, you know. Um, like even
I have a lot of friends that are in the bodybuilding space, and they'll always say to me, like, listen, I look amazing. What you see, I look amazing. But they always say the one thing, they're miserable doing it. They're absolutely miserable. That's the
yeah,
one thing that always come. That's the one thing they always keep on saying to me, Mark. I cannot wait to have my cheat meal. I cannot wait till this is all over. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
when they do eventually get to that stage where they've achieved their ultimate goal of getting those six pack abs, been absolutely ripped, what they do is they put the weight on so quickly. Like
yeah,
within a month, I've seen these people gain like something like 20, 25 pounds of like water weight.
yeah,
It's incredible. And it's like, why? Why did you get to this stage? Why did you feel like you had to be miserable in order to achieve the perfect body?
yeah. And
You
then
know what I mean? Because
how
because all you're doing is you're putting your body through this amount of restriction, this amount of pain. You know you don't enjoy doing it. And then when we look at the average person that's trying to lose weight, they're doing the exact same thing.
yeah,
They're just trying to find they're trying to find that perfect formula. I'll do the best gym class. I'll hire the best personal trainer. I'll do the best boot camp. I'll try the best diet. If
yeah.
this diet doesn't work, I'll try this diet next year. If this diet doesn't work, I'll try the Ozempic. When does it stop?
I know it's like it's shocking. Like the amount of people that say to me like that, I couldn't give up this, I couldn't give up that, and I was like, but the benefits are so good when you do give them up, and they just don't. I don't know. It's like it really is ingrained in us, and then like everywhere you look, there's something promoting, you know, like you said, Ozempic or just all the sugary stuff that's out there, like and then I don't know, like
Mm.
it's just trying to get through to people, that there is an actual way. Like even when I tell people like
Mm.
I'm never hungry anymore, I said I can fast.
Mm.
I haven't gone down the whole fasting route yet because I just genuinely don't like being hungry. You know the way, like I will try it to see. I know the benefits of it and everything, but um, no, wouldn't be a thing for me at the moment. Like I am.
And yet, and you think in the last, I know you've been saying this, you've been doing this like 64 weeks. Do you think there's a shift at the moment in the last year, or do you feel like people are still lacking knowledge?
There has been a shift, but I don't think it's been enough. Um,
Mm.
like you've I don't know how many years of um, plant-based propaganda to try and get people away from, um, the amount of people that tell me like I'm eating healthy, and I go, okay, what are you eating? And then they tell me, and I'm like, is that really healthy though? And you
Mm.
start talking to them, do you know what oxalates are? And they're like, what? And then you're saying, do you know like about anti-nutrients? They're like,
Mm.
no. And they're like, but I have a
Mm.
mistake and I have a spinach. And I was going, okay, maybe leave the spinach alone. Like,
Mm.
but that's healthy. That's really good. I was like, okay, you know. And they're like, I have that book, Toxic Superfoods. I have that in my
Yeah, yeah,
bag in work because there's like, people are going, you're crazy, you're mad, you don't know what you're talking about.
yeah,
And I go, all right, yeah, have a look at that. And then, you know, um, give them a look at the book, and they're looking at me going, is this for real? And I'm like, yeah. It says that's why you're sore after you have this, or that's why you might have kidney stones. Do you know? And they're like, oh, I thought I had them because this, or do you know? And you're like, I don't want to be a know-it-all either, and I don't know it all either. But it was like, as I said to you, I failed my way through school, but like, this is the only thing I've done that's had results, like positive results, not just the same thing. Like the amount of people I work with that tell me I'm doing intermittent fasting. I go, oh, that's great, yeah. How are you getting on with it? And then they
mm,
go on to tell you what intermittent fasting is, and I was like, oh, I know what intermittent fasting is. How long are you doing it? And they tell
yeah.
you, I'm a year and a half. Okay, and how's that going for you? Like, what results have you gotten? And they got to tell you again with intermittent fasting, and I was going, I know what your window is. That's what you're putting in the window. That's the problem, you know. And then, like, you don't want to be talking down to people either, like, but trying to get them to kind of go, oh crap, maybe I'm just counting myself here. I'm just having my 4 hour window and then shoveling 20 hours worth of sugar in those 4 hours, like, you know. So, yeah, it's that, and then like people telling you, no, plants are the way to go. It's like, well, you know, I'll beg to differ. Like, but I'm not gonna argue with anyone. You know, if you can survive on a vegan diet, but you have to supplement, and not like I don't supplement with anything now. I did at the start. Obviously, you probably did yourself with electrolytes and that, and now I don't. I still heavily salt my food, but I don't take anything. And then, you know, you get the usual thing, oh, it must be so expensive. I was like, okay, I don't drink, I don't eat sweets, don't eat chocolate, don't buy crisps, don't buy fat, or I don't buy chippers. I'm not getting any soft drinks, any of that. Like, and they're like, oh yeah, but how much do you spend then on meat? And I was like, going, but how much do you spend on all that other stuff? And you know yourself, they don't know then either. It's just like, oh, they just see what you spend in the butchers, and I was like, but I only need to go to the butchers. Don't need to go to this place to get all this other stuff, you know. So
yeah, I was only in a steakhouse there about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I ordered 2 ribeyes, and this couple across the table from me, your man looks at me and says, sorry buddy, are you not worried about your cholesterol? You're not worried you're going to have a heart attack? While he was talking to me, this guy was eating dessert. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I mean? This guy had a dessert and a pint beside him. You know what I mean? And I was looking at him and said, like, listen, do I really want to have this conversation on a night out with my missus, or do I just leave it alone? So I just said, listen, I'll just leave it alone. What's the point in arguing with these people?
Yeah. I would say now, well, if I'm wrong, at least I look good in my coffin, you know. And what can you do? Like, you know, pick your battles and all that.
Exactly. So if anybody's listening to this right now and they're thinking that, you know what, I want to start, I might actually try this. What would be the main mistakes people should avoid?
Well, definitely thinking they can't do it. You know, it is hard. I'm not going to say it's easy. Like, it is as simple as just eat meat and eggs and eat the meat that you like. You know, and as everyone says, eat the meat you like and can afford. I think it's just thinking that you'll just wake up and just do it. It's not going to be the way for everyone. I think it depends really, because like I'm an all or nothing person, so it was me, it was cold turkey, and that was it. Would I recommend that for everyone? Maybe not, but I guess it comes down to willpower. As far as mistakes go, I guess trying to do it on your own would be a mistake. You know, even if it's just a Facebook group that you join and you can bounce off people, that'd be definitely something to do. Like, and try and educate yourself as much as you can before you go on it. And low fat, that's a big mistake. Don't go low fat.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I think the biggest issue I see with people when they start these diets is they go way too high protein and very little fat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you hear these fitness influencers say, "Oh, I tried the carnivore diet, I was miserable." There's a reason why you were miserable, because I can guarantee your protein was too high and you were eating very, very little fat.
Yeah. That, and I never realized in like bacon and rashers that there was sugar until I started on this diet. And now like going through when I'm buying, if I'm in a regular shop and I'm buying, I'll be looking at the back to see like why would you put sugar in bacon and rashers, you know, and then trying to find
and this is why it's important, Keith, like you mentioned, to keep our butchers open.
Yeah, definitely.
It really is, because like when it comes to our supermarkets, we don't know where this food has been imported from.
Yeah, that's very true.
When it comes to our butchers, we have to do whatever it takes to keep these people in business.
Yeah, definitely. Um, and you know yourself, when you get to know the lads as well, like, you know, they look after you as well. And
Mm,
like I've gone
mm,
in and the guys have said to me, have you ever tried this? And I'll be like, no. And they were like, here, try this and see how you get on.
mm,
And like I've tried, I wouldn't really be one for organ meats or anything like that. Like I tried heart. Um, it was nice. I wouldn't be going buying it again, but it was nice to have tried it. Even oxtail, tried oxtail, and I love that now. But
mm,
I would never have tried it. Only the guy said to me, "Here, try that," and I'll be like, "Okay, well, how do I cook this?" Now I would have looked on YouTube anyway, but like
mm,
they'll tell you like how to cook it as well. It's not just they're not just there just to take your money. They'll help you out, like,
mm.
and give you advice as well, and different cuts and stuff like that. Like, so you're not going to get that in the supermarket either, you know.
No,
Um,
no, and like you said, it's like I think it's very, very important that people are listening. You need to make sure that if you're buying something off a shelf in a supermarket or in a fridge, don't just look at the front. You need to look at the back and you need to look at the label. And
yeah,
if a meat has like say any more than say 10 ingredients, there's a problem there. It shouldn't have any more than two ingredients if it's a real food.
yeah. It's like those,
You know
those
what I mean?
fit.
If you're buying beef, it should have beef in it, and that's it. Nothing else.
Yeah. Like,
You know what I mean?
have you seen the roast beef slices in they're in little, but they're literally roast beef and salt, and they come in like the packs,
Well,
like, like your things, like it's I saw that on a carnivore group there a few months ago, and it's really nice. But I was surprised to see just two ingredients. That's it, and
mm,
so it's nice. Like if you need it, if you're going somewhere and you don't know what you're going to eat, you can have a pack
mm,
with you, which I thought was unusual to see. I was surprised to see that outside of a butcher's.
mm, mm. And you've been doing this over a year now, and you're actually coaching this now as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I started coaching there a little while ago. Yeah, so
Good
I
stuff.
just
How's that
yeah
going for you?
yeah it's slow enough at the moment. I'm getting a few people on board, like especially as you know yourself here in Ireland. It's you know we're definitely the exception to the rule at the moment.
Mm,
So I've kind of been concentrating on that online. So it's just slow, just trying to get my name out there and see what I can do, but
mm.
try and help as many people as I can. It's
Well,
definitely
I
the
think that's the main thing. I think that's the main thing that if anybody is going to be thinking about doing it, guys, I would just 100% recommend that you need to get in touch with Keith because you've heard his story. You've heard what he's had to go through and how he got out the other side. So if you guys are struggling, you have a metabolic issue or you're overweight and you feel like I've been doing these low calorie diets for a long, long time. I've been on these low fat diets for a long, long time. I'm thinking about going to see my doctor. I would say to you before you do that, you need to be reaching out to someone like Keith because Keith could actually change your life. If it done amazing things for him, then just think about what I could do for you. And I think us as carnivores, we're never going to be in a position to say, okay, we're doctors, we know what we're talking about. But what we are going to say is instead of getting something that's in a bottle or medication, if you just focus on your food, it could actually change your life because it did for me. I had the similar story to Keith's. I struggled for a long, long time with my food. I didn't understand what food addiction was. I didn't really understand what true satiety really, really was until I came on this diet. Like Keith, I used to eat like 9 times a day, every 2 hours. If I didn't eat, I'd get really, really angry, really, really pissed off. Whereas now I'm in a position in my life now where I'm relaxed, I'm very, very calm, and I think that's what we should be focused on. Plus, my health isn't the best it's ever been. I know my cholesterol numbers are probably well over 12 at the moment. But at the end of the day, I think the best feedback you can ever get from somebody is, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel? If you feel amazing, you wake up feeling amazing, you don't have that brain fog, you don't have those mental health issues, you're not walking around with joint pain, arthritis. Like, what other evidence do you want? Just keep going. What's the
yeah.
problem?
Like nobody, and like I mean nobody has said to me, "Keith, you look terrible."
It
Do you
doesn't,
know?
yeah. Mm.
and I'm not saying that to be big-headed or with an ego or anything, but nobody said to me, God, you look brutal. Like, you could, there's
Mm.
always going to be one person that's going to say it to you. Even in work, like I show people the before and after, and they're like, I know, would have never said you were that size. I'd be like, look at my neck and my face. You could see, like, you can literally see the inflammation in my face, like, and I was like, yeah. I said, well, I wasn't happy, because they were like, hey, you don't look too bad in that one. I was like, yeah, I wasn't happy, you know. Then they do laugh at me because I take the photo of them first thing in the morning. So people would say to me, would you not smile? Because I'm only out of bed literally and I take the photograph.
Yeah.
So they're like, maybe you have a little smile there. But yeah, but like nobody has said to me, God, you look brutal. Like, what are you doing? You're killing yourself
And
there.
how old are you now, Keith? How
I'm
old are you now?
49. I'll be 50 in May.
And you just need to look at him, guys. Look at him. He looks incredible.
If you saw a photo of me when I was 30, like
Mm.
I've a photo because some of the guys I work with don't believe I had long hair, so I'll show them a photograph and they're like, "That doesn't even look like you." They're like,
Mm.
"That looks like you look older in your other photograph," and that photograph. I think it was in my 20s, um, and like it was a lot heavier. Like you could see it in my face, and
Mm.
I do genuinely look a lot older in that photograph.
Mm. Mm.
Um, which is good because the way it should be the other way around.
Mm. Mm.
But yeah, so that's a definite definite bonus like that. You're kind of going right when people are not going into work looking for confidence or even off people, but people I haven't seen in a long time, and they're going, "What happened to you?" Like, and then you say, "Well, I just changed my diet." They're like, "All right, what are you doing?" And then you start talking, and then it just leads on, and then they either go, "You're absolutely insane," or they're like, "Would I be able to do that?" And then you just take it from there.
And do you feel this is it now? You're going to be doing this now for the rest of your life?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Like as I said, yeah, I'm messing around a bit at the moment. I'll tell you a funny story. So I was in Chicago a few weeks ago, and I decided when I got there, I was on a late flight, and I decided when I got there, it was too late for me to get my normal food. So I said, I'll just do a little experiment myself. I'll eat some of the rubbish that I would have eaten before. Now, it's still in there with me with the sugar, so I
Mm.
got too much, right? So I bought a small pack of donuts, the powdered ones. I literally inhaled them. Like when I started, once I started, bang, it was like a
Gone, yeah.
drug addict. It was like
Gone.
bang, that was it. Literally inhaled them. Got them some chocolate chip cookies and some caramel M&Ms. And I went to bed about 10:30, and I woke up at about 2:30 in the morning. The only way I could describe it, it was like the ghosts of the DOMs have passed. So all the exercise that I'd done, it was like all the muscle cramps and everything came back just from my hips down to my feet. I had the worst cramps. Every single part of my legs, parts I didn't even know I had, were cramping. I was nearly crying like with the pain. And like at the time I was laughing because I was like, what am I gonna do? Like I'm gonna have to ring down to reception. Help, I've eaten a donut, call 911, I was like, this, I'm gonna have to leave the job now. This is too bad. But like I literally I couldn't straighten my leg to get rid of the cramp because when I straightened a different part would cramp. I couldn't lean over because when I leaned over I got a different cramp, say at the back of my leg. I ended up sitting like about half a foot out from the bed, lying at an angle, trying
Wow.
moving
Wow.
my leg in all different kind of ways. Then I went into shock. And I got sweats, and I was like, I'm going to get sick. And I was like, I can't even go into the toilet to get sick because I can't kneel down. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done to myself? So I'm sitting holding my t-shirt out, like going, if I puke, I'm just going to have to puke into my t-shirt. Sorry for trying to be discussing here. But I was
Mm.
like, right, I won't be having that stuff again. But it was
Yeah.
like, I've never had pain like it. I was nearly crying. And it was like, that lasted for me for nearly half an hour. And then when eventually it kind of calmed down, I ran a bath with put Epsom salts, everything, you name it, no matter what I had, I was throwing it into the bath. And I had the bath and all, got out of the bath, got back into bed. 10 minutes later, bang, hit it again, and I
Mm.
was up for another half an hour or so. With it happened to me 3 times, and I was like, right, I am never doing that again. Now I know I overdid it with what I ate, like, but it was
Mm.
like, no way, never again.
I
Um,
was the very, very same. I think about a year and a half ago, I said, right, I'm going to experiment because I used to love having like protein ice cream. I used to love it. I used to love blending up all these frozen fruits and adding a little bit of milk and adding some protein. I used to blend it all up and then freeze it and then just eat it like
Hmm.
ice cream. And I just said, right, I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to see what happens. So I just said, right, I'll go back to my old habits and let's just see what happens. So I ate the whole thing. This is no word of a lie. This is around, this is around 5 o'clock in the daytime. The next day, you can see my finger there. It was like
Yeah.
this. I couldn't even straighten it. I honest to God, I could not straighten it.
Yeah.
I was like, why is my finger like this? I couldn't straighten it. Not only that, my aggression went through the roof.
Oh, way.
I was giving out to herself. I was going outside and I just wanted to start a fight. I just, I don't know what it was, but that anxiety, I felt like I was bleeding like an animal. I just wanted to start a big, massive fight.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, okay, I understand what this is now. I understand what this sugar addiction is. I understand how
Yeah.
powerful it is now. And I don't think people actually understand how powerful this shit is until
Hmm.
you actually come off it for a very, very long time. If you come off it for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, those withdrawal symptoms are going to be there.
Yeah.
It's going to be always pulling you back, saying, "Listen, okay, come back. There's not like you need this.
Yeah.
You need to stay on this." But once you get past that and you do this, like you mentioned, for like 3 months, 6 months, nearly a year, it's only when you realize, okay, I'll add a little bit more back in, even if it's fruit.
Hmm.
I've had issues eating fruit in the past. I can't even eat a banana because when I eat a banana, it leads on to so much other things. I could eat probably a bag of donuts straight after it because I have that addiction. It's
Oh, yeah.
taken
I'd be like that.
it's taken over my mind. So that little bit,
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think I can ever be in a situation where I can moderate sugar because
Yeah.
of that
I'd be
reason.
the same.
Because if I have a little bit, it's going to be in my head. Oh, geez, I need to have more. I need to have more.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't want to be in that situation ever again. I want to be in full control of my eating habits because I was like you, I was like an animal. I could eat non-stop. Like when I used to go to
Yeah.
Carveries, I would go up, get a portion, come back, get another portion, then I'd eat desserts. I'd be offered sweets, I'd be offered chocolate. I'd come back, I'd probably have a bowl of cereal. It would never stop.
I used to be like that with I was only talking to there's a girl I'm working with. I'd be like that with iceberg lettuce, but it was only to get the Thousand Island dressing because it was
Mm,
full of sugar, and I would
mm,
get a mountain of it, and then as much Thousand Island dressing on top of it, and because I was getting a hit of sugar out of it. You know the way I didn't realize it till I gave it all up. I didn't like
mm,
lettuce or salad. It was
mm,
the dressing. There's
mm,
one thing I'd like to ask you, see your opinion on this. As I've said to you, I'm trying things out again. So I started drinking coffee again. Now I'm about a year and 2 months off coffee, and I said, right, I'll try it. And um, like I gave it up. As I said, yeah, I went cold turkey. I've had no issues going off it. Um, Sleep and all has been fine and everything like that. And I went back on the coffee, and I was fully expecting after working out to get the DOMs again because I haven't had the DOMs since I went carnivore.
mm,
So I had a coffee, did a really intense workout. I was training hard like for about 2 hours and nothing. I'm fine. Sleep's fine. I've been having coffee now with butter, like as I said, I used to do the bulletproof coffee. I've been
mm,
having coffee not all the time with butter, but I'm only having it in the morning, and I don't feel any problems. If anything, my mood is better. Now I know it's a drug, but my general mood is better. Um, like I'm only having it if I'm at home. If I'm in work, I'm not taking it. Like I'm not, I'm only drinking the coffee that I'm making myself. I'm not having anything like in work or anything like that. But just curious to see. Like I'm not getting. I know it's not technically carnivore, but I'm not really suffering with it. If you know what I mean. If anything,
mm,
it is adding to me. And I know a lot of people don't give it up. And I could give it up again tomorrow and not have it again ever. Do you
mm.
know that way? But I'm just curious to see what you think yourself.
At the end of the day, it comes down to how you feel. So if you're drinking and there's no issues whatsoever, then just keep it in. I mean, there's an awful lot of
Hmm.
strict carnivores that'll say to you, okay, listen, you're not carnivore if you're drinking coffee because coffee is a plant. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like you've got to go by what can you do that's going to be sustainable for the rest of your life? And you can't be in a position where you're going to live like a monk, where you're just going to eat
Yeah.
red meat and be miserable for the rest of your life. I mean, I like the odd cup of coffee. Like when I'm doing like a leg session and I need to get amped up, I need to get that
Yeah.
anger out, I'll have a little bit of coffee. Nobody's going to tell me, like, listen, what you're doing is wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It helps me get through my workout. So I'll
Yeah.
use it when I want to use it, but I won't rely on it at all because I don't
Yeah. Well,
need it.
that's
You know what I mean? Because like
yeah.
you said at the very, very beginning, I don't need to rely on caffeine to get my energy. I wake up in the morning like it's pretty much the same as you. I'm up every morning between 3 o'clock and half three every single morning. I wake up, I don't feel tired. I wake up with a purpose and I'm ready to work really hard. And I find I'm more productive the minute I wake up out of bed. So the minute I wake up out of bed, it's
Yeah.
like, you know what? Okay, my brain is on it. Let's just get straight to work. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I just find that when I drink coffee, that robs me of my energy, of my natural energy.
All right.
So I just find, you know what, if I need to have a cup of coffee, I'll have one. Right? But most of the time, I'd say about 95% of the time, I just don't need them at all. And
Yeah.
then yeah, so I wouldn't worry about it at all, to be honest.
Yeah. Because I was saying again to that girl, I was telling you about, like, I was, saying about the coffee, and I'm on the fence. I would be of a similar opinion as yourself, but I'm being very conscious to monitor how I feel during the day.
Mm,
Is if it's anything like I'm not getting cramps or anything like that. Just kind of, being very conscious of how I'm feeling, and seeing, maybe, not to say in 3 weeks' time I'm going to something's going to kick and I'm going to go, that's coffee that's doing that.
mm,
Because nothing else in my diet is changed or changing. So
mm,
it was like, I'm very conscious. Like, I'm open to, maybe tomorrow waking up and not feeling it and going, no, do you know what, coffee isn't going to be for me. I'm just going to
mm.
leave it. But
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I was saying to that lady that I'm working with, like, if I started drinking again in the morning, I'm sure I'd be in good humor as well. Like,
Mm,
but I'm not
mm,
planning on not planning on
mm,
doing that either.
mm,
So the
mm,
the coffee is, it's at the moment it's working for me. Or should I say, it's not having an adverse effect on how things are going for me. Like, so I was just curious, because I fully expected, like, I had the cup of coffee and I was like, see how this is going to work out now. And then when I did my workout and all, it was fine. Next day and all,
See,
fine.
see, see, what I find what makes me more alert is just the high fats. The more high
Hmm.
fat you have, like that's why I make sure the day before I always have a good amount of fat. So the next day I wake up, I fast because I don't need to eat. I'm stuffed. I don't, but I just feel really, really good. I feel light. I feel there's no inflammation there. I just feel like I'm ready to rock and roll, ready to rock and roll. So I'll
Yeah.
wake up at like 3 o'clock, and I probably won't get my first meal until around 1 o'clock. Now, if you had said to me, say 10 years ago, to go 10 hours without food, I would have laughed at you. I would have said, listen, no way.
Yeah.
You're not going to get me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and get me starve myself until 1 o'clock in the daytime. It was just never going to be possible. Whereas now, I don't even think about it. I don't even think about food. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that all that fat is
It's
just
great,
doing
isn't
this.
it? Like,
It's yeah, all that fat is just having a massive impact on my brain. And I think people need to understand this about glucose, that your brain
mm,
needs glucose, but the problem is we do not need to get this in the diet. Your brain is made up of fat.
yeah.
I'll never buy this bullshit that our brains need sugar, because this is what leads to dementia. This is what's leading to problems. People don't understand this.
Yeah.
And this is why these poor people are ended up in hospital and they're struggling with their mental health. They're going through dementia, like so many other conditions. And then we have the health system that's caught. When you think about it, we have this system that's creating this big, massive problem with our food, right? And then when we get sick, we're going into another problem.
Mm,
You know what I mean? So it's just they're
yeah.
creating this whole system. So they know exactly what they're doing. They're getting us in a situation where, okay, we're gonna struggle, and then when we do, we're gonna be in their hands.
Yeah.
And
Once you start the system, it's very,
we
very
need
hard to
we
get out of it,
we
isn't
need to change that, Keith. That's why I'm delighted
it?
that,
Yeah.
because I know I met you about a year ago, and I know that's why I asked you the question earlier. Do you think we've actually changed? Do you think that the tide is turning? Because I've seen now in the last year, there's a lot more people now that are either turning carnivore or keto, which is amazing. And I think we just need
Yeah.
to keep on spreading the word, because when I did this like 4 years ago, if you mentioned keto or carnivore in this country, you would have been like, people would have looked at you and said, listen, you're crazy. You're just trying to get people killed.
Mm.
You need to stop. At the very, very beginning, people were telling me, listen, you need to get off social media. People were actually threatening me at the very, very beginning, get off social media. Your information is going to kill people. That's how bad it was in the beginning.
And when you think what's out there,
Horrendous.
like,
Horrendous. Absolutely horrendous.
shocking, isn't it?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. So I just think we need to keep doing what you're doing,
And
because, as I
like,
think, you look amazing.
there
And
just two of us here now talking, both gone through transformations. Like, yeah.
yeah, no, it's amazing. So if people want to reach out to you, Keith, where should they go to?
Thanks very much.
So if people want to reach out to you, where should they go?
Social media wise, Instagram is on Instagram. I'm just Keith Whelan _. And failing that, just carnivorewithkeith.com is my website. They can get me from there. I probably will branch into more into Facebook and all that sort of stuff, but kind of I just prefer Instagram at the moment. You know the way. So that's the space they can get me if they want to reach out to me.
Amazing. Well, Keith, thanks very much for coming on. That was a great conversation, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
Thanks very much for having me. Yeah, we really appreciate the time and the chat.
Good man, Keith. Thanks very much. Speak soon.
Thanks very much. Talk to you after. Bye.